Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, July 1st City Council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee.
Here.
Alderman Gleb.
Here.
Alderman McClatchy.
Here.
Alderwoman Basty. Here. Alderman Davis. Here. Alderman Cook.
Here.
Alderwoman Miller. Here.
Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm asked for public comment. This is for items that are not on the agenda this evening. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment at this time? Sir, please step up to the podium. Can you hit the center button on that? There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you state your name and address for public record?
Yes, my name is Stephen Glennon. My address is 3710 Millstream Drive, Apartment 5, in McHenry.
Thank you, sir.
I'd just thank you all for having me this evening. I was invited here by Monty, and if Monty's here or not, which one's Monty? Yeah, hi, Monty. I'm here for the block party.
So, actually, when this item comes up, we'll have you come back.
Okay, great. I'm ready.
All right, thank you. It's all right. All right. Any other public comment? All right. Thank you. Items 5 through 5F. Is there any council members that are wanting to pull separate items for separate consideration and plan on voting no? Alderman Gleb?
Not necessarily planning, no, but I've got a lot of questions on A.
Well, questions, you'll be able to ask those questions during every item. If you'd like to ask during the comment portion by council. Are you comfortable moving forward? And you can ask those questions after the motion's made.
Okay.
I'm looking for a motion to approve 5A through 5F. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda 5A through 5F, please.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll approve that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council. Alderman Gleb?
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions about this block party on Millstream. If the gentleman would like to come up and maybe answer some other questions.
All right, sir, you come back. There you go.
That was quick.
Hit the center button again. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
I'm technologically handicapped. Go ahead and answer any questions you want. I'm totally ready. I've made some corrections on the flyer. I gave you guys the wrong flyer. The information was incorrect. This is our first time doing this, so it's not my first festival, but for this neighborhood it is. I was not fully aware of the ordinances regarding having a block party. I now am. I put this in place. I think everything should be safe, and I've tried to tick every box, but please feel free to ask me any questions you have.
Sure. Alderman Gleb, go ahead.
Looking at this flyer, and again, that's what was printed in
Okay,
here.
would you rather look at this one?
Here, I'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir.
It appears that you're inviting anybody and everybody to this block party.
That's incorrect.
Okay, I'm just saying what it shows. So this is just for
people
that live in
75
that
yards strip of street with the people who live on it. It's not open to the general public, no.
Okay, and then there will be no sale of hot dogs?
Nothing.
No.
We're not selling anything. Nothing. No hot dogs, no raffle tickets, nothing. If people want to bring food, they can. The only thing I'm providing are balloons for the little shorties and hula hoops and glow sticks. And that's out of my pocket. But we're not selling anything at all.
Yeah.
Period.
And again, those were my my reservations more than anything else, is the size of the event and the fact that you can't really be selling food.
No, it's about 100. I'm sorry to interrupt. It's about 100 people.
Right.
At tops.
Right. Well, the neighborhood. And again,
Yeah.
that's when I read community event, everybody welcome,
That was my fault. Semantics.
That's
It's a neighborhood event as listed on the flyer. It's just for the people my neighbors, pretty
Right.
much.
No, I appreciate that you came down to explain all that, and sounds to me like it's a regular block party now.
Yeah, and you know what? The people, I was telling Monty, right now I'm Captain America, but if it doesn't go through, I'm Snidely Whiplash, because they really want to do this, and they're very excited about it, and I just want to have a good time for the summer, and have the kids do the hula hoop thing, and that's about it, really.
Well, I hope you guys have a good time. And,
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Are you
comments.
guys gonna give me permission today, or do I have to wait, or, I mean, I need to
We're
know,
gonna be
'cause-
voting on it in a minute.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you, sir. Alderman Santee?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note, on the minutes from 5E, in regards to the discussion, page 30 to 35, it was a discussion on 11 North Green Street development. Apartments were brought up 3 times during that discussion, and rent was brought up twice, in regards to, the subject at that time. And I just wanted to make note of that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
If there's no other questions, I will, move to approve the block party.
We already made the motion for all of them, so we're good, and you seconded it.
Okay.
Any other questions on these items? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
All right. Sir, you're all set.
Thanks,
Have fun.
Thank you very much.
We're expecting invites as well. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Next item is 6A, is Maruli Liquor License. I'm looking for a motion to approve a Class A liquor license to Maruli Event Corporation, located at 3315 Pearl Street. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion that we approve the Maruli Event Company liquor license.
Thank you. Alderman Santee?
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Ashley Maruli is here, so I'm going to have her step up to the podium if you have any questions for her. You know, we met with Ashley and her husband regarding this liquor license. There's no changes to the business itself. They're just making it legally into their name at this point. So Ashley, do I have that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So any questions for Ashley at this time?
You answered all mine.
There you go. All right.
No.
You may have a seat.
Thank you.
That was easy, see? All right, go ahead, Alderman Glad.
Yeah, is she a resident of the city? I mean, don't you have to have a representative,
Within 10 miles.
within 10 miles? Okay.
They meet that criteria.
And she was basically, running it for DC Cup, for
Dan
Hart,
Hart. That is correct.
okay, so
Yes.
the exchange, in ownership happens within the next day, or just happened, or whatever?
It will happen after this.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I just wanted for clarification, thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Ashley, thank you very much. Thank you guys so much. If you need anything, holler, okay? All right, good luck with that. Next item, 6B, is a sign variance, 409 North Front Street. I'm for a motion to pass an ordinance granting a sign variance at 409 North Front Street to allow a freestanding sign not to exceed 23.67 feet in height. Alderman Santee?
I will make the motion on 6B for the sign variance at 409 North Front Street as presented.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Glad.
Yeah, second.
Discussion on this item. Mr. Urslinger is in the audience as well, so if you have any questions, but Alderman Glad, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no questions, I just want to make a statement, and that's the fact that I've gone by this sign for I don't know how many years. It's not intrusive, it's always been well-maintained, and basically, the only thing that's changing is it's being moved back several feet, and when the road gets widened, it's going to look the same as it does now. It's not encroaching the building or anything else, so I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you. Alderman Santee?
Yeah, with IDOT coming in over the next few years, it's probably going to happen in multiple locations, so it's good to see that some of the ownership up and down 31, and I understand there'll be more coming soon, but it's nice that you're proactive and we're getting this done prior to any kind of major construction. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments by council? Any public comment regarding this item? See none, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Monty.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. Good night.
Next item on the agenda is 6C is water and sewer rates. A motion to pass an ordinance amending Title 9-2C-5, subsection B, and Title 9-4B-1, subsection F of the McHenry Municipal Code in relation to waterworks and wastewater rates. I'm looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Santee?
No, I will make the motion for the ordinance amending Title 9-2C-5, for the waterworks or user rates, and Title 9-48-1, subsection F, for the wastewater user rates as presented.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Miller?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Discussion on this item by City Council? Alderman Glad?
Just want to state that, staff every year goes through as far as, what the cost for operation is on our, water and sewer funds, and, they've never been off that much or anything else. So I think if they're calling for that 5%, I'd have to go along with it. The one thing I want to warn, maybe the press, if they hear this later or whatever, I know in the past, I've seen homeowner associations, they just freaked out when we did the debt service and everything else. This 5% is just on the sewer and water rates, and it's not where the entire bill's going to go up 5%.
Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Last year, we went through this, and we kind of took some from the water and added to the water or sewer, and we balanced it out. How come we could do that this year?
So this year, we needed increases to both. Last year, we needed only an increase to sewer, and we did reanalyze and then realized we could lower water by the same amount. But this year, we need increases to both.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments by council? Anyone from the public would like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
No.
Alderwoman Bassey?
No.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6D, skate park repairs. I'm looking for a motion to waive a competitive bidding and to approve a proposal from American Ramp Company for repairs at the Ryan Bus Skate Park, Skate Zone Park in the amount of $40,000. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Miller?
I'll make that motion to approve the skate park repairs and to waive the competitive bidding process and approve a proposal from the American Ramp Company for repairs.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll second that. I've got a question also.
All right. You got the second, discussion on this item? Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Director Hobson, how many people use that right now?
It's, especially in the summer, it's pretty busy. I don't have a clicker over there. We don't have an attendant that clicks and sees how on a daily basis, but if you went over there right now, there's probably a dozen.
Really?
It's a well-used amenity for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Glad?
Yeah, I just want to mention, as far as the skate park, and, Alderman McClatchy, remember from years back when he was on the council, we used to get a lot of complaints of the kids, using, the skateboards everywhere and anywhere downtown and whatnot, and, over the years with the skate park, ever since it started, it has deteriorated more and more as far as the use out in public streets and everything, and more towards the park, which I think has been a positive. So, just wanted to state that.
Any other questions? Alderman Bassey?
Quick question, where's the funding for the $40,000 coming from?
The $40,000 is Parks Developer donation money that will be utilized for this project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Alderman Cook?
How much to replace this thing? Put a brand new one in, just kicking it around.
You're probably $500,000-$600,000, and that's probably a pretty moderate estimate.
Yeah, I've seen it, it's detailed. Okay, Thank you. 40 grand sounds pretty good.
Any other questions, Alderman Santee, go ahead.
Real quick, I appreciate Director Hobson's time today on the phone, because I just wanted to make sure that we looked at two numbers, the 33.9, and then we're going to 40,000, understanding, prevailing wage, it's got to be there. Yeah, just as long as bases are covered, because, I know that's bitten people in the past in regards to making sure prevailing wage is part of this, so as long as our bases are covered, and I understand that, you can explain it better, but that's on the person doing the work, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the prevailing wage reporting is on the contractor. It used to fall, they would have to submit, certified payrolls to us. We would be the keeper of that. That onus has shifted more to those businesses now. I will add, just in regards to that, in Illinois, I looked up the rates, and for a cement mason, which is primarily what this work would be, just a non-prevailing wage rate for a cement mason is $25.08. That prevailing wage amount jumps up to over $50 an hour, $50.70 an hour for prevailing wage. So that's a good, you can see the difference of why it jumped from, 31,000 to 40,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I have a question. What fund did you say that was coming out of?
Parks Developer donations.
All right, anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is Miller Riverfront parking lot paving. Looking for a motion to award a unit price contract for the Miller Riverfront parking lot paving project to current contracting company in the amount of $202,865. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Santee?
I will make the motion to approve the Miller Riverfront parking lot paving as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Davis? Thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion on this item by City Council. Alderman Glad.
Yeah, is it with a, limited amount of 202,865, or, just so we have verification? I know it's presented that way. The part that bothers me is as far as, the verified quantities installed, it may vary from the original contract amount. I think we should have a percentage of, that it goes over a certain percentage, come back to council at least to review.
I'll jump in here just real quick. In talking with Director Wirtz as well as Greg Gruen, the city engineer, who has done a good portion of the legwork on this project, as identifying the grant and then putting the bid specs together. We anticipate, I shouldn't say this out loud, I kick myself for doing it, but we anticipate it coming in underneath this. This was, some of the quantities were elevated in order to make sure that we hit the mark that we need to hit. I don't know, Director Wirtz, if you needed to add anything to that, but that was our discussion. We don't anticipate this being above that 202,865.
And again, I'm not, anytime it's underneath the original, that's great. I just think that, I want to make sure that the council's made aware if it does run over. That's all. I'm not saying we have to come back for another vote or anything else, just so we're made aware of it.
Yep, absolutely. Alderman Cook?
Does this money come out of, the general fund then? Or it comes out of TIF?
This money will come out of Parks Developer donations as well.
Okay.
There is, so our initial exposure is $202,000. The grant, we received $150,000 of that. So ultimately, our exposure on this project is, as it sits here, $52,865.
I couldn't remember if it was or not. Thank you.
Alderman Massey?
That was actually my question. It's 202 minus 150
Correct.
because of the grant.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you. So
Yeah.
we're only liable for 52,000
Correct.
and 860.
$865,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, just for clarification, we haven't received the money yet, right? We get it after the project?
Correct. We have
Okay.
not received the money yet.
All right, but we know it's coming.
The state of
We know it's
Illinois
supposed
says
to be
they're good
coming.
for it.
Let's put it that way. And again,
That instills a lot of confidence.
if it
I'm
doesn't,
sure, in all
let
of
the
you.
council know right away, please. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right. Any public comment regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Davis.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 6F, Riverwalk Phase 4 Electrical Addendum. A motion to execute a custom work agreement with AT&T in a not-to-exceed amount of $37,569.31. Sign construction invoice with Comcast in the amount of $5,148.67 to complete the line burial adjacent to the proposed Phase 4 of the Riverwalk, and pass an ordinance for a budget amendment to the fiscal year 2024 and 25 budget to utilize funds from the TIF fund in the amount of $42,717.98. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman McClatchy.
Thank you. I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Alderman Santee.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion on this item? Alderman Santee, go ahead.
Okay, once again, I got to thank Director Hobson for his time today, because this was kind of unique in regards to reading this over. So it came to us because of the basically two utilities which have been there for how many years, AT&T and Comcast, where we have to bid this or get this payment done at a second phase of the 4-phase in regards to burying the utilities. In our conversation, we had some concerns, and I just really think that, there's got to be an eye on this project. And I know we have an engineering firm, H.R. Green, on this project, and I want to make sure that they're covering their bases, because it sounded pretty basic when I read through it. And, I confirmed a couple things with Director Hobson, and once again, appreciate his time. And I would make sure that the motion, because you mentioned it in your packet, that the motion does not include what will probably be coming back to us later on, that $9,000, which
That
is
will be-
an engineering invoice, is that
That will be a
correct?
separate thing that I feel like we
So-
needed to address that separately than.
So that is not
than these
addressed
two.
tonight?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just,
Thank you.
I guess for a history, and just to expound a little bit upon the history of how we got here, so everybody understands. We actually started the Riverwalk, this Phase 4, we had designed it up to 80%. And in September of 2022 is when we started discussions that we needed to finalize that engineering and take it from 80% to 100%. In October of 2022 is when we entered that contract with H.R. Green to do so. We looked at that project in its entirety and kind of put ourselves in their hands to be able to design it and address the issues that were along that Riverwalk. One of the things obviously that came up was the power pole burial and the burial of the power lines behind that. We started, and with H.R. Green as the lead, we started some communication with ComEd, with an initial design phase with them in November. Received their first design, a rudimentary drawing that was given to H.R. Green, who was the lead on this project. We received the actual plans for the Riverwalk itself kept progressing, as did the electrical plan for the Riverwalk. We received our first electrical plan for the burial of all these lines, I think it was April of 2023. And so I will say that we had every indication that every base was being touched, and not just ComEd. There were on-site meetings, and that coordination was happening with AT&T and Comcast and others that were on those, other utilities that were on those poles. And so there was other things that happened until finally that got before you on November of 2023. There was a lot of things, coordination, to make sure that we really thought, and I'll say myself and John Smith worked closely together on this one, to ensure that we thought we had every I dotted and T crossed. And unfortunately, once it came up that we felt like H.R. Green kind of dropped the ball a little on this one, and there were some things that were missed. And so, unfortunately, we're here before you, want to keep this project moving, but we're working on the other side of this with H.R. Green to see where exactly this happened and how it happened. I think we have a pretty good idea that it fell upon one individual's shoulders. But that's the entire history, so just to have a better context, exactly how this happened, and we felt pretty confident, and felt very confident in November that we were bringing it all before you as an entire package.
Thank you, Bill. Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill, did we ever get a look at the contract between ComEd and AT&T and Comcast?
So after our conversation, thank you for reaching out today. Administrator Ostrovsky and I had a conversation, and she reached out to her contact, the government contact, and their exact quote was, once we relocate our equipment to its new location, it's up to the other utilities to relocate theirs.
Okay,
So they're not claiming that they have any responsibility, or and the other utilities are coming to us saying, yeah, we'll move them, but you for them to be moved. ComEd says we're going to leave the pole there until those utilities are off our pole. They're not just going to take the pole down as the trigger to get rid of them.
Well, needless to say, we don't want to slow up this project. However, I think, especially for the future, I mean, you know, you're not talking a couple $1,000 or a couple $100. I mean, there's going to be a lot of tens of thousands that we're talking about. If ComEd allows them to put their cables onto their poles, but once those poles are gone, then it's up to those cable companies to have to find a different route, and that means they need to bury their own lines. We don't need to be paying for them, because they basically didn't have to bury them in the first place because they had the convenience of hanging it on the ComEd poles. Well, now ComEd is having them buried, so therefore they should be burying them as well instead of having the taxpayer brunt the cost on it. And I think, you know, let's face it, this isn't going to be the only time that we're going to want lines buried. Already
Right.
We're talking down Green Street
Right.
back there and everything else. So we really need to kind of iron this out, I think, for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, go ahead. John.
I probably should just be quiet on this, but this one really has me bothered, and we must have had a minimum of 30 to 40 meetings with ComEd on that site. And in fairness to H.R. Green, it was always my understanding, and I have a long career in the construction industry and engineering, those are Commonwealth Edison's poles, and they own them. And nobody was really paying too much attention to the providers that hang on them. I mean, who says that Spectrum isn't on it, and other companies? Why do we have to differentiate between AT&T and Comcast? And by the way, Jim Marcos told me that none of his residents use AT&T. There is an AT&T main line that goes to the hotel that we've been dealing with through the whole Riverwalk construction project. But my point is, it became a major surprise to me, and I've been out of the business for a while, so things have changed, obviously, but ComEd owns those poles. I was always used to the fact that if anybody was hanging on them, they had tough luck. They had to do their own thing. And Andy's right. I mean, that's the situation. So this isn't a real clear-cut project in what happened out there. In fact, I'm still upset at the whole thing. I made the statement probably a month or two ago that this ComEd electrical barrier was probably the most complicated project I've been involved in, and we've been in major state highways and bridges and things like that. But this was a very poor performance by ComEd, and I think that's where everybody went down the rabbit hole on this.
Thank you.
I just had to get that in. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thanks, John. Alderman Cook?
Well, I know that if ComEd puts up a pole, anybody hangs anything on there, whether it's AT&T or Comcast, they pay rent to ComEd. Now, okay, now ComEd's burying their cable. what's with these other guys? If they want to provide service to their customers, let them bury it. I mean, they're up against the same wall that, that ComEd has. I understand the city is paying to bury it. and all
Right,
that
I just
stuff.
want to make that clarification.
Well, I
We're-
understand that.
We're
I
paying ComEd
Correct.
$69,000 to bury.
And as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, AT&T is dead. They, me personally, I wouldn't want to waste $37,000, $569.31, on burying AT&T that's everybody's, telecommunications and all that. To me, they don't exist, so, I can see Comcast, everybody likes their, TV and stuff like that, and internet, not AT&T. They can string it some other way or do whatever. If it's only doing the hotel, well, maybe they ought to go to Comcast. That's my opinion.
Any other questions, comments by council?
I just want to reiterate the fact that I don't want to see this project stymied because of this issue, but we do need to look at it for future.
Got it. Alderman Bassi?
Thank you. We have two items on the agenda that are Riverwalk Phase 4. At what point are we going to stop funding or having additional things come up? I mean, when is this going to be done?
Well, I would say that we're way ahead of schedule, actually. The project has gone extremely smoothly. This electrical has been frustrating. Again, I wouldn't have brought it forward if I didn't think that we weren't ready to go with that. I wouldn't do that. In terms of the project itself, the other issue that you're going to see, I think, is in terms of doing something correct. What was designed is not how it's actually working, and I know we'll get into that on that particular supplement, but there's really nothing left to do out there. The boardwalk's done, the brick pavers are in. We need to put some lights up and some landscaping, and the project's done. We'll have to repave Mr. Arcos's lot. That was part of the easement agreement. But in terms of being involved with a project and for it running as smoothly as it has, this is a mind change on a $1.5 million contract, and it's to do it correctly, especially when you're dealing with stormwater and the effects that it has there. So I feel I'm confident in this one in particular. There were some things that were missed, but in the other one, the project should be all but done within 3 weeks, aside from railings.
One more question. What is the current balance of the TIF fund? Because both of these are going to be paid for from the TIF fund.
I'm not going to speak. I'll let you.
Well, let me rephrase this. Is there enough money in the TIF to cover these expenses?
The TIF is in the negative right now.
Okay.
That's, remember, when we approved the Riverwalk, we knew what that was going to do to the TIF. And so the TIF is designed to do that. We know money will be coming into the TIF. It will replenish itself. This is money that can only be used for public projects within that designated. We're taking money away from any place else.
Right. No, I
That's
know.
what these funds are for. And this is the perfect use for those funds. So it will, within 1 year, will replenish completely to where we're back where we're at.
Okay. And in time, is this coming out of the general account, the general fund?
I mean, it's coming out of a general fund bank account that they all share the same bank account.
Okay. Right. I'm good. Thank you.
Alderman Miller, did you have a question?
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that this piece of the Riverwalk is probably the most complex because it's privately held property that we're creating easements over. It's not our property. So things get missed because you got a lot of floating in the water. But this is an integral part of the process. Once we get Phase 4 done, we're almost there. And I am really grateful that this is I hate to say the light at the end of the tunnel, but this was a difficult piece of property because it wasn't ours. So you had a lot of moving parts here, and although we're always disappointed when things are missed, it's not surprising because there's a lot of spinning parts. So Thank you.
Agreed. Any other questions? Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Bill, what's your wildest guess when the parking lot's gonna be paved?
They were actually ready to pave it next week.
Really?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, we were on it. They're ready to go. The next supplement will actually help them in order to do that. It was going to happen either way.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to have it done before the second week of Fiesta Days. So that's the only outlying factor will be the one pole that's there. That will have to be a patch job after the fact. We know that that's going to be the one thing we'll come back, but the bulk of the lot they're ready to go with that.
Yeah, this thing rolled along a lot quicker than I thought. So,
Us too. It was great
and
contractors and good oversight. It really has come together well.
Yeah.
And it's it's that missing link, and it absolutely was the toughest piece. Doesn't look like it's a big piece, but it's so intricate, and there were so many things that we're dealing with and utilities, and it's all kind of crammed into this small area. So to be able to coordinate with those property owners and for them to trust us and give us a little bit more than even anticipated giving us in terms of a work area. Initially it wasn't, we don't want you to use back parking lot at all, but when he has the confidence and see that project progressing the way that is, then he was much more apt to say, you know what, you can use my parking lot, use this to stage. That wasn't something we anticipated initially, and so it's made the project move even better, but it's about working with our neighbors, and I think we've done that pretty well all along.
John, you want
Thank you for being here, John.
I really need to keep my mouth closed. But, just so everybody understands, there was nothing missed. Bill and I and our team, on all of these Riverwalk sections, we work our hearts out to try to make sure it's done economically and efficiently at the cheapest cost for the city of McHenry. We decided to put parking bumpers in, just like Mr. Arcos has in his parking lot, and let the water drain across the Riverwalk. Instead, and this is the reason we're asking for this curb addition, we had a massive rain last Saturday, which happened to flood Smith Central Garage and Whiskey Diablo and a number of other buildings. And we discovered there's a huge amount of stormwater coming right down Pearl Street, right to that parking lot, and it washed everything out in Arcos's parking lot. It became very evident at that moment that, okay, we should have probably not done parking bumpers. We need to direct that water with a piece of curb. I think it's only, how long is it? It's 100 feet, 110. So it was obvious at that time when we had huge amounts of gravel sitting on the Riverwalk. And Bill and I looked at each other and said, we should put curb in there. We were trying to save money and do it as efficiently as we can. And once that storm came, we said, no, we better do it right. So, and not that we weren't doing it right before. So we didn't miss anything. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other questions, comments by council? Alderman Cook?
We're still talking about the electrical, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because it was a catch basin.
Yep.
Are we burying AT&T, or no?
We got
Are
the
we gonna
motion.
bury it, or?
That's what's before you right now.
We'll tell you in
Decide.
about 2 seconds. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
No.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
So yes, we are. Next item on the agenda is 6G, Riverwalk Phase 4, change order, gutter and catch basin. I'm looking for a motion to approve the change order to the Riverwalk Phase 4 contract with Alliance Contractors in the amount of $19,095 for the addition of curb and gutter and a catch basin, and to pass an ordinance for a budget amendment in fiscal year 24-25 budget to utilize funds from the TIF fund in the amount of $19,095. I'm looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve the $19,095 additional change to put in the create curb and gutter,
Thank
and a
you.
catch base.
Thank you. Second, Alderman McClatchy.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion, by City Council on this item? Any questions from the public regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman
Yes.
McClatchy? Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
No.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 6H, pickleball expansion. I'm looking for a motion to approve a competitive bidding and to approve a proposal from American Seal Coating for painting of pickleball courts adjacent to the Ryan Bus Skate Park at Knox Park in the amount of $24,000, and to pass an ordinance amending fiscal year 24-25 budget to utilize $10,000 from the Parks Developer Donations Fund to fund the necessary amenities for the addition of the 6 pickleball courts. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Miller?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council? Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, I just wondered, on these courts, is there room that, because these pickleball courts will be smaller than regular tennis courts, right?
Correct, yes.
Could they be expanded to tennis courts down in the future if need be?
Could they be?
Yeah, is there enough room there to do that?
They could. So what we did at Knox Park, we actually took one tennis court out of play, and within that fenced-in area, we were able to put and 2 pickleball courts. So we didn't change the footprint at all of Knox Park existing courts. Took one tennis court out of play and put in 2 pickleball courts. So if the trend ever shifted and tennis took off, you could rent it, and it could be 3 tennis courts instead of 6 pickleball courts.
Well, again, I still see pickleball strengthening more and more all the time. However, I remember when lacrosse took off a couple years back, and then all of a sudden now it's just kind of died. And if pickleball does die in a couple years, we just want to be able to use those facilities for something else if need be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Bill, what's the turnaround time from start to end to get the pickleball expansion?
It all depends on the court, the availability of the gentleman to paint the court. If we can get on his schedule, it can happen pretty quick. When I say pretty quick, probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, so all we're really doing is painting the courts. That's all we're doing.
We're painting the court
And then the net.
putting the nets in, and then we'll also, in between each of the courts, there'll be a small piece of fencing to prevent if you're playing on the courts opposite each other, you hit a ball, it doesn't automatically just go into somebody else's court. So there's small sections of fencing between each court between north and south, so down the middle. There won't be a one continuous fence,
Right.
but it'll be section fence to keep the ball and, I guess, assist with gameplay.
Okay. I mean, I know pickleball is really a big thing. It's just, I would hate to see something new put on your to-do list until other things on your to-do list are completed. For example, East Beach.
Right.
So,
All the equipment for East Beach, so that's in the works. There's a couple of things that we're taking care of, but this is virtually all contractual. It won't be a big onus on our guys right now, especially if we like the court painting and ordering the equipment. The fencing, we'll have a fencing contractor to come that in, so it doesn't fall completely on our shoulders as a department, because we have Fiesta Days coming up, so that makes it difficult to navigate as well. So contractually, it's what the things we need to look for right now.
okay. And this is absolutely going to be open and free to the public, like all the other
Yes.
tennis courts, and it's not aligned with being a member of the,
Not in any way. It's
Okay.
open to the public. Come out and play.
well, that's what I wanted to hear.
So when we waive the competitive bidding, American Seal Coating, have they been used before with the city?
They've been used extensively with the city. We use them for Shamrock, we use them for Friend Field, the Altoff courts there. We use them for Knox Park. They've been a very good contractor to partner with us.
So with this $10,000 from the Parks Development Donation Funds, $14,000 is coming out of what, Parks and Recreation or general fund?
So there's $25,000 that's set aside right now for skate park area improvement that's already been budgeted. The extra $10,000 would come from Parks Developer donations to buy the nets and the posts for pickleball, as well as the fencing that needs to happen down there.
Okay.
Any wild guess how much it would cost to illuminate these courts?
You're probably looking $100,000 is a swag.
Do we have power there?
There's lights at the skate park right next to it.
Right.
And so you would tap into that somehow. I don't know, that's my electrical engineering degree expired, so. But there's power there, it is on a timer, it connects back to, the barn. There's power in the vicinity, which is a huge advantage. It would be on that same timer. It's still, by the time you put poles and lights and wiring and $100,000 a guess, probably $150,000.
How much light from the skate park will overflow to the pickleball?
Not much. Enough to make it a safe area, as you want to, as the light expires and you go to leave, there's not any concern there in terms of this is a dark place that I don't want to be. There's enough light to light up that area. And
so it's kind of interesting that for any of you who've played snow golf and you chase your orange ball around in the snow, I actually saw on Pickleball Channel the other day the glow-in-the-dark balls, and I'm like, okay, there's no lights out there. I can just envision people out there with the glow-in-the-dark balls playing in the dark, and I can't wait to see that. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Oops. Bill, I want to make sure I heard correctly your answer to Mike. So we've already got the $25,000 in the budget.
correct. 25,000.
Yes,
That's already
20.
budgeted.
Okay, thank you. And then the $10,000 is coming out of developer donations.
Correct.
So we really don't have, it's almost like a net zero. It's already in the budget, and we're using the developer's donation for the balance of the $10,000?
There's no impact on the general fund budget.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm interpreting it correctly.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, just, so what would our inventory be on, tennis courts versus, pickleball courts?
With the addition?
I'm sorry?
With the additional courts added?
Yes.
So right now we have four tennis courts and 4 pickleball courts. We'll keep the 4 tennis courts. We'll have 10 pickleball courts and 4 tennis courts.
Okay, but 2 of the 4 are already striped, for pickleball play, and that'll be corrected?
We can take that, it's temporary striping that could be removed, yes.
And get rid of it, okay. So, we're gonna have, I'm sorry again, how many pickleball courts, 10?
We'll have 10 altogether.
And only 4 tennis courts?
And 4 tennis courts, yes.
Okay, and if we get, a little bit more, push about, the amount of tennis courts, can we talk to the school, considering they have theirs, that they could open up more to the public than, you know, it is our tax dollars, so.
Right. We absolutely would have a conversation, and I'm sure you remember, there was a point a while back, well, I don't know, it's probably been 10, time flies, but when we actually paid for the lighting, we replaced the lighting at West Campus, at the side of the old tennis courts, and that was our portion to ensure that that was part of the inventory, that the public could use those courts. We helped pay for the city, we helped pay for the lighting on those tennis courts. Now, they've since pulled that whole operation out and built all new courts, but it would be a conversation that, if we get to that point, that I'd be happy to champion and approach them about the possibility of using those courts or setting aside some public hours for those tennis courts.
I also remember the conversations, many years ago for lighting in Peterson Park for their ball fields that they've now moved back behind the school, so. Again, we need to be courteous to them, you know, we need to work with them, they need to work with us too, though. And I'm just saying, if there is a push by the public, that, we need to push them to get those opened up, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Any other questions, comments by council? Anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment regarding this item? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller.
See you, John.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Can't wait to play, yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey.
Yes.
Alderman Davis.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is the 2025 road program. Director Wirch. Floor is yours.
Well, council, it's that time of year again where we start discussing next year's road program. I believe you all got the memo from me on what we have for funding next year. Next year we'll be able to accomplish the 6.5 miles of road that we've talked about to stay on our 20-year service life of roads and continue to do that over time. We do have some extra money from savings over the last couple of years with our conservative budgeting. So it was 2021, I believe it was, we were supposed to, 2021, we were going to resurface Court Street in Venice, and we did not because council directed us to engineer a project down there that included curb, sidewalk, and connect Miller Point to the parking lot. With the funding balances that we believe we will have, we'll be able to do 6.5 miles of road and fund this project next year. So I'm looking for direction from council on what you would like to do. If this is something you'd like to do, this is a chance that we have to fund this project. We have it 90% engineered.
Any comments, questions? Alderman Santee?
You said 90%?
It's 90% engineered.
And anything, and that's looking at the pedestrian walkway area next to the road also. That's part of this?
It's
That's
part of the whole
included?
project. There's curb,
Yeah.
there's sidewalk, there's drainage.
And, I know we have this, extra amount. Do you have an idea of what?
The
that
EOPC on
number?
this job was $600,000 for the Court Venice project.
Okay.
It was also noted in my memo, it's a little farther down the line, if this project is something that you want to move forward with, we are going to have to look at the sanitary sewer there. If we developed a lot on Green, where the old savings and loan bank was, that sanitary will need to be upsized. Normally, we would do that when the development is happening, and to be a part of the project with the contractor. I would recommend that if we anticipate development there, that development's gonna be a little bit later. If we're gonna do this project next year, we should be ahead and do the sanitary now, because part of it's right down the middle of the road, instead of tearing it up again in a few years.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the information. I'm comfortable with moving forward.
Thank you. Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, we're talking about moving the sanitary sewer over there by Green Street. So we're talking where the easements are?
It feeds two different ways. The one on the other side of the creek goes straight to Regional Lift Station.
Correct.
This one goes down Venice. So that parking lot goes, like the old savings loan, all that would go in front of like Green Street Cafe there, runs down the alley, down Venice to Boone Lagoon Lift Station.
But when you talk about moving it ahead of time, you're talking about that, not the...
It's not moving, it's upsizing it.
Oh, upsizing.
We have to
okay.
upsize
So we're
it.
not talking about moving that one over.
No, it would be in the same place, it's just we have to upsize it.
Okay.
To handle capacity
All
for
right.
development there.
Yeah. I just wanted to state, I look at the road program, and if I look at it by ward, it's lopsided. However, there have been times that people have said in the past that Ward 2 was lopsided a few years back, and the thing is we're looking at what's best for the city, and I haven't got a problem with what you got for next year.
Thank you. Alderman McClatchy?
Thank you. Director Wirch, you've done a good job, over the years, with this, paving project, and, I'm for this, so.
Thank you. Alderman Betty?
I think I'm okay because I know that Director Wirch is very thorough in investigating everything, so I'm on board.
Alderman Davis?
Yeah, I'm on board too. Everything I read looks in line.
Thank you. Alderman Cook?
You do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Well-educated and all that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm on board.
Thank you. Alderman Miller?
Yeah, I'm right with you on the 6.6 miles. I think that's more than we typically do, and I'm grateful that you're able to squeeze it out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We will move forward.
Just
One more comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Water's Edge. If we consider it, 'cause, we talked about how Kensington was kind of a busier road. Water's Edge is a massively greater road traveled, being ever since the Dartmoor Bridge was opened up, people come down that way all the way down to Oakwood to the, whether it's 120 or out to the school. So when we're looking at the future, that's next year, but the future, that we start looking at maybe using that as a priority due to the fact of the use of that road more than anything.
Okay.
Thank you. Alderman Santee, do you have something?
Yeah, want to back up Alderman Glab's statement prior that it does look a little bit lopsided, the map, but that being said, we have rankings to follow, and it's great that we're doing this much in regards to mileage, 6 to 7 miles. That's fantastic. And there was a huge, incredible build-out that had to be done in Whispering Oaks years ago, and we got it done. It was expensive. It wasn't just, laying pavement down, but and that got done. So I like what we're doing, and appreciate the rest of the council moving forward on this section. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Glenn.
Just one other question. Centegra Drive over there, is that what it was? Is down. Yeah, Centegra Drive.
It's just a portion of Centegra. It's that portion from Ridgeview to...
That was not done with the others back about 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was.
It was 2019, I believe, that the other ones were done, and no, that part was not done.
This one wasn't, okay. All right.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Miller, go ahead.
Thank you. So, I was not at a meeting the night that the request to have the roads resurveyed was defeated. So I believe the 2019 road map survey was a 5-year projection on the condition of the roads, and I realize that this council defeated the request to have another survey. Can we revisit that?
So, David, help me out with this one.
Was it actually voted on? What was
It was.
It was voted on.
It got denied.
Council controls, they could...
If there's a support.
Not on the agenda, they could consent.
I realize it's not on the agenda this evening, but
Right.
I think as we look at fiscal year 21-22, we did 5.5 miles. 22-23, we did 10 miles. 23-24, we did 6 miles. Next year we're at 6.6 based on the conversation that we did 7.2. Now we're looking at 6.6. We have 126 miles.
A little over 130.
130 miles of roadway. We're knocking it out, but as we ignore everything that was orange before, it might be in a different priority, which is what the department's been working on with their list of the map and the map requests. So I apologize that I wasn't here that evening. I was away on a work trip, but I do think it's important that we hire an engineering firm to do the analysis to keep us up to speed and make sure that list stays current of what's the roads that need the most attention. That was done in 2019, right?
That's correct.
I think it's more important to tell your constituents, like, hey, here's an updated report that you can hand out to constituents, and it shows them the updated report versus using something from 2019. So I was hoping that was going to get passed, and it didn't. So at this point, if we can get the majority to bring it back, that want it on the agenda, we can certainly do that. So
I would certainly encourage my fellow council people to reconsider that and have Director Wirch bring us the cost again. I think that report was eye-opening for me, and I have referred to it many times when Councilman Glab and I have had the conversation on the street about, we only used to spend a little bit of money, and he went to an extra effort to find extra money to make sure that we were taking care of roads as quickly as possible. And that was a very powerful tool to have that report available. That was on, they looked at every crack in every road and color-coded it so we knew exactly what condition our roads was in. I thought it was powerful.
Agreed.
Mayor, I'm sorry, go ahead, you hit.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, the report that I had here from 2019, it was also a 10-year program. So we have a 10-year program, and that's what you're working off right now, is that 10-year program, correct?
I mean, technically, we could work off that as long as.
And any program
as
is,
long as we want to.
any program can be adjusted according to, because needless to say, Mother Nature could be kinder to some roads than others, and there could be some additional deterioration. But that, we can't do an entire survey, and that was the whole point. Why would we do an entire survey on roads that were done in the last 8 or 10 years,
And I could speak with the consultant and see if we could do something different there to bring the cost down. Maybe they just give us just a sheet changing the road ratings and not a whole full-blown survey maybe, and we can, that's really what you guys want to see, is the number that the road was rated. And then I could talk to the consultant and see if there's something different we could do there, if that's what council would like.
Before we address anything, how about if, Mr. Wertz-Dixon, sends us that report, to everybody, so that everybody has that report and where we're at with it. As far as the idea was, is we were gonna do all these roads in the 10-year program, and how many actually got done, and how much change has happened since then.
Yes, I can send a report from 2019, and I will send you everything that's been paved since 2019, if that's what you want. If that's what you're asking for? Like, not just the report, but everything that we've done also, so everything that's paved.
I think to some extent, yes, so we have a history on it, so that everybody can look at it, so then next time we have this discussion, whether it be at the next meeting or whatever, we have something in front of us that, this is where we were, and this is where we're at now.
Yes, I'll put something together, and if you would like something beyond that too, let me know, I can put it together.
Thank you.
I would just ask for maybe about a week or 2 weeks to get that information together, just in case we want to follow up with the consultant, just to see what our options might be, just to give that information to the city council as well, with costs associated.
Yeah, it'll take me, wouldn't be, so, I don't know if I'd be ready for the next meeting, but
So when you get all that information, we'll send it out, and then we'll put it on as a discussion item the following meeting after we receive it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions regarding the road program? See none? Any staff reports? Director Hobson?
One small thing to remind everybody, point out, special attention, before we meet again, Fiesta Days will start. So just think that's one worth noting, is that it starts on Thursday, July 11th, and our community fireworks show, and with everything happening right now, just pops up quite a bit. We did move our community fireworks show to Sunday, that first Sunday of the Fiesta Days, so that's July 14th. Will be our community fireworks show.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other staff reports? Also, you received an email from Monty today regarding the parade. If you would like to be in the parade and you do not have the wonderful magnets for your vehicles, let Bill Hobson know or let Monty know, and we'll get those for you. But also, if you want to attend, please let us know so we could tell the Chamber of Commerce that you are going to be attending that parade. Okay? And if you have questions, call me. I know there's a couple new council members, so. And then that's it. And then the mayor's report, obviously at the last meeting, Shodine and staff received input regarding 1111. Shodine is requesting a special meeting, also with staff and I, having a special meeting next Wednesday if the council is able, so that way we can discuss all other development sites and give them direction on where the council stands at this point. Obviously, there was a lot of different opinions and so forth, so I think at this point, Shodine just wants to know where they stand and whether they should continue to move forward or not. That's pretty much what we need to know. So I would ask, if the council can clear their schedule for next Wednesday for a committee of the whole, 6 p.m.? 6 p.m.? Next Wednesday, 6 p.m.?
Next week, Wednesday.
Next week, yeah.
July 10th.
And that'll be a public meeting?
July 10th.
July 10th, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, yeah. Alderman Davis, go ahead. All right, okay. Can you, are you up for business?
I am taking my daughter to volleyball nationals. I'll be gone from
Oh,
Saturday.
okay,
I'll be back Thursday night, so.
okay. All right. We'll, let us, yeah, we'll talk about that, because I'd like to have everyone somehow involved. So, any other concerns by any other council member on Wednesday? Can everyone attend once?
15 would be great for me. I'm hosting an event at my house from 4 to 6.
So, okay, 6:15, 6:30?
6:30 would be
You might have to
perfect.
kick them out really fast at that point. So 6:30, all right, so 6:30 on Wednesday work?
6:30.
That's Monty will.
You got this.
I'd actually like 6:35.
6:35?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm like, what?
We went from 6 to 6:15 to 6:30.
All right, so 6:30, next Wednesday, Alderman Davis, we'll have a conversation. Other than that, let's plan on that. We'll go ahead and get that on the website and so forth. This will be a public meeting, once again, committee of the whole, and Shodine will be present to pitch the other development sites. Did I miss anything? We good? Any city council comments? Alderman Miller?
I had out-of-town guests in town today doing a familiarization tour, and all they kept saying were the flowers are stunning. Who does your flowers? So, Bill, Steve, your teams are doing an amazing job on making our town look amazing. I'm pointing at buildings and Riverwalk, and they're in the car going, oh, who does your flowers? And I'm like, get over the flowers. Let's look at the buildings. Yeah, so thank you.
Any other, Alderman Santi, go ahead.
Go. I want you to go ahead, I know what you're going to say, so go ahead.
Alderman
What am I
McClatchy, go
gonna
ahead.
say?
I think so.
I just want to say, everybody have a happy 4th. We've had a great weekend, and I think this week, and thanks to Chief, and we're doing a good job.
Alderman Santi?
No, I didn't hear, Taste of Main Street was fantastic. That's why I thought I was stealing your thunder, if you were gonna mention that. No, that's fine. You were there in attendance, you're having a good time. No, and I don't know if you have any information on it, but it seemed like it was an active crowd. It wasn't overly crowded or anything, but, and it was nice.
I spoke to the organizer this morning. Everything went great. From a police department, there were no incidents. It was it's the best attendance that they've had. Everything went really smooth. As organizers, they were happy. I think also the part of them was happy it was over, and they had beautiful weather, and it was a success. It was really a nice event for McHenry. The amount of trucks, and they had the amount of food trucks, and then they had the amount of vendors that they had, and utilizing different spaces and live entertainment. Just was a nice festive day, and people walking down the street, and it was a great event for Main Street. A great event for McHenry.
Just add one more thing is that there were 2 sections of the street that were they had their own booths for different products, selling things, and I was amazed that it did pull people down to the train station, and it was very active down there, and they had those shops down there, and then they had shops in the parking lot. So, there was a variety of items to do there and things to check out.
They did a really nice job of setting up, especially when they had you kind of had the alcohol in one end and on both ends, and so then you had kind of Plum Garden on the one end and Main Street Station on the other, and there was just this flow for the event, and people were largely parking in the old Bus Ford lot, so they were coming in from the west and just moving up and down the street, so that everybody got hit twice. They were walking down the street and then turn around and walking back, and so they just did a really, really nice job. It was a good event, and I would compliment them, especially, Jessica from the Old Corner Tap did a really nice job in organizing that. I know that there was a lot of others involved, so I hesitate to say one person's name, but they did a nice job in organizing that.
Any other city council comments? Looking for a motion to adjourn? Alderman Bassi?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Alderman Santee?
I will second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Bassi?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes?
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.